Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we are going to be setting up automation for the Pure Daisy. Hopefully you guys are ready. Alright, so between last episode, we ended up getting some smoothstone generation set up, which is pretty cool because currently I'm slowly but surely working on these challenges along with the quest book that's going on, because a lot of these challenges are very helpful, especially whenever we get into the normal stuff. You have everything from a tree farm, which we've done, to getting full crop automation. I need to get flowers still automated and a few things like that. But the Pure Daisy is what we're going to work on today. And it's a more difficult way to do this, but you're going to need all the items that we have in our inventory here, minus the lens of magnetizing. That was just me testing out a lens. So let's throw that in there. We don't need the lens of magnetizing, we just need these bore lenses. And then we need, these are pulse mana spreaders. So we're going to make sure you want to get pulse mana spreaders. And then we also need a Random Carpus that you see over here. A regular Pure Daisy, not floating. That's so that way it won't get destroyed by the bore lenses. And then also we have just a regular chest placed here, and this is exactly where I want my outputs to be. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first though, we actually need to get clay going. So we need to make a clay flower. There's actually a flower in Botania that will generate clay. So if you take a look here, we have the Clayconia. So it requires earth, light gray, 2 light gray, a regular gray, and a cyan. So let's go ahead and grab those. So we'll grab a cyan. We need 2 light gray and a gray. We can throw one of the gray back. There we go. And that should be all the flowers we need. And then we also need a rune of earth. And then we're gonna need a seed, of course. And I do have seeds in here. There we go. Awesome. And that should be all done in a petal apothecary that has water in it. And last but not least, it needs a seed. And now we have a Clayconia. Okay, so this thing, when placed in the world, should generate sand, I do believe. If we hold left shift, creates clay from sand. So if we place sand nearby, just like so, we got some sand. I think if we throw it at it, generates clay, or maybe, oh, it's when you place it. Okay. So yeah, it's whenever you place it, you get clay. And there we go. And we need to get red sand, so that's why I'm working on this. To get this clay, we need red sand. It's so easy to get this going. Alright, so the clay, if we take a look at red sand, which we're going to need a few pieces of this. We need terracotta. 1 terracotta equals a red sand. And we're going to need a few blocks of that. So I don't think this is going to be enough. This will be 4 blocks, so 4 red sand technically. Let's go ahead and grab some more cobblestone. This might actually be enough. I love how it just pops. There. Generating tons of clay. Okay, there we go. Alright, and that might be enough. Yes, that is totally enough. And we only need 7 of them. So let's convert this. And I thought this is supposed to go into clay. Oh, we gotta turn it into terracotta, that's right. So let's go ahead and smelt this. Go ahead and convert that into wood, normal wood. And that should get our terracotta. So while this is working, we can go ahead and get some of the other stuff done. Alright, let's go ahead and start making the automation stuff set up. So what we're going to need is actually another mana pool on top of the mana pool that we have, because the way we're going to get these things to angle properly is we're going to need we're going to need a few mana pools, because we're going to use that to trick the spreaders into linking to a different location. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll throw that. I have an extra mana pool now. We are going to need 2 mana pools though, base mana pools. And then we're going to get a pulse mana spreader. I'm going to go ahead and put this one here. And I'm going to put a pulse mana spreader here. And now I want to link these mana spreaders to a certain location. So technically right back here is where I want this one to link to, and right here is where I want the other one to link to. But the mana pools are not going to stay there. So let's set the link to this mana pool. As you can see, it kind of cuts just perfect enough that it does this L shape and hits every single block in its path on an L shape. And then this one is going to do the opposite on the other side. And it's going to hit every single one in this L shape, and this one's going to hit every single one in this L shape. And then we can move these mana spreaders and hook them over here. So there we go. Technically, I guess I didn't even need to make another mana pool. Okay. So with these having mana pools, these actually need a these need a redstone pulse to actually activate. And to do that, we can just use normal redstone for right now. And I'm going to run redstone over here. And I'm going to have to route this, actually, I'm going to route this around. Remove U torch. Just going to place it like that for now. So that way this redstone signal will continue all the way over here. Place a piece of redstone there. We're going to get a redstone repeater and hook it up here. And I'll explain why we're doing this later. But right here is where our hovering hourglass is going to go. So the hovering hourglass will give this a pulse, and will also pulse the redstone signal, and will also pulse this redstone signal. Which will get all of our automations set up here in just a second. Alright, so now that we have this set up, basically this is ready to go. Any blocks that we'll place here, all we need is our 7 red sand to set up a 70-second timer. And we should be ready to go, because this will actually break the lenses once we add this. The bore lenses. So this will actually break everything. And go back into the mana pools, and then we'll recirculate, not really wasting much mana. Alright, so once it breaks though, we need somewhere for the stuff to go. So that's where this floating hopper hawk is going to go. I'm going to place it on the ground here. And then we're going to get 2 item frames. One on this side, one on this side. And that's where we're going to use 1 piece of Livingwood to go on one side. And then I need a piece of Livingrock, which we'll get from right here. And I'll just place it right down for right now. And that'll turn for me here in just a little bit. So now that this is done, we need to work on the floating rhinocarpus. Now this needs to actually place stone and wood down for us on this location, but we need some way to drop it. That's where we're going to get into a pulse extender on making sure that it drops a certain amount of items within a time period. So redstone comparators are really good for pulse extenders. So whenever you go to make a pulse extender, you can do it several different ways. I'm going to use this way. It's pretty easy to set up. You have a comparator powering the cobblestone block. You will set, or not a comparator, a redstone repeater. You'll take the comparator and face it backwards here, and the other one facing this direction. And what it's going to do, it's going to check the redstone pulses, or it's going to check the redstone amount. If we set it left like this, it'll power this block, but it takes a little while to power it. I think the best demonstration would be just to use a lever here and flick it on and off, and you'll see this actually stays on for a little while, and then it shuts off. Stays on, shuts off, and you can see the time there because it's actually going through each individual power level. So flick this on, as you can see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and it goes all the way down. This is a pulse extender, so pretty nifty little trick you can do here. And with this specific timer, it will allow a hopper to be powered on and allow it to work for just the right amount of time. So let me go ahead and place a block here, and we'll place an open crate. And the open crate is going to drop, well, placed it wrong. Need the open crate here. There we go. And then right here will be the hopper. And I need that hopper to place a specific amount of items, which is 8. And this actually provides an unpowered redstone torch for 8, enough for 8 blocks to or 8 items to drop down on the ground, which is perfect. And it's going to do it at the same time it's breaking these blocks. So all we got to do is go get our red terracotta, or get our terracotta over here and get our red sand, and we can set up this perfect timer. Now you can use soul sand if you have it. 2 soul sand, it's going to be a little bit slower and not as accurate, but we can go ahead and technically set this up. It's fully ready to go, minus us needing this 1 piece of Livingrock. There we go. So let's give it the Livingrock, and now this floating hopper hawk is ready to go. The only thing that I don't like with this hopper hawk is I need a mana pool to link it to. So let me go ahead and link it to this mana pool. And as you can see, it's linked. Now if I break this, now it's not linked to a mana pool. And I want that. I don't want it linked to a mana pool because I want it to have a shorter range. I don't want it to actually be picking up any of our other items, or trying to, or interfering with our random carpus. So all we have to do now is turn this thing on and let it run. All right, so I have a handful of cobblestone, or regular stone. I want to place it in there. Place this, so the 7 sand inside of our hovering hourglass, and this should work here in just a second, but I'm actually going to pulse it right now here, and this pulse is going to activate this, and as you can see, it's going to drop just the perfect amount, and then it's going to get placed by the random carpus. That's exactly 8. And then now our process should almost be done. Let me actually pull the sand out here, and then I'll restart the timer, and this is going to work. So once this hits the timer, once the timer for the 70 seconds goes down, or 70 ticks, or whatever it is, I think it's 70 seconds, it should be just changed. So just the right time. And this should work. If we need to increase it, we can increase it, but I think this is perfect, because this normally has a 1-minute timer, so going 10 seconds over gives a little wiggle room. So let's just go ahead and wait, and I'll be back in a second. All right, so it happened a little bit early, this change, but that's because we placed the blocks before the timer will go off. But we're about to see all of the automation take hold as soon as we give this some mana, of course. We need to give this some mana as well. But with that little bit amount of mana, you can see it worked. And it should place it down. I just need to give it a little bit of mana so it can burst next time. You can use diluted mana pools if you want to for these. Doesn't really matter. Diluted mana pools are a little bit easier to fill up. So now what I can do is actually come up here and place a chest on top of this. And I can just set it now to Livingwood. It'll produce Livingwood, it'll produce Livingrock. All of that stuff should be produced in this. And if I wanted to, I can separate it any way that you don't want to. If you wanted to do it in any different form or fashion, it should work. And I do believe the timer will actually let the items in once the hopper is powered off. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't actually pull the items in. Oh well, we'll have this chest up here so we can set the, just push the items in. Anyways, well, this is working. It's given us Livingrock, and it's automated. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty fancy. And you can thank some of this design from, you can thank some of it, I'll go ahead and link him down in the description below. But Mischief of Mice has a really good tutorial on how to do this. I just kind of made it a little bit simpler and easier to see, and kind of simplified it a little bit. But this is definitely a thing you can do. He kind of had it in a very compact space. I have a little bit more space to work with, so I'm able to spread out some of these different things, but especially this timer is very helpful. But it's not really a timer, it's a pulse extender. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and as always, thanks for watching.
Let's go!